live stream today. We have a fantastic audience and fantastic speakers here. I'm Mike Henley. Wanted to go ahead and introduce our panel here today. Let's go ahead and start with Alec.
Hey, thank you, Mike, for this. And hey, everybody. My name is Alec Tan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of InnoDT. We're a SaaS platform that provides blockchain analytics and visualization that tracks a lot of the activities on blockchain-based data.
Excellent. Thank you, Alec. All right, now let's go to Walter.
Hi, I'm Walter Tonetto. I'm based in Indonesia. And my company is we're going to be launching a hybrid gold coin. So something that's 1/3 real gold, 1/3 real silver, and 1/3 stable coin. So those kind of dimensions.
Excellent. Thank you, Walter. All right, let's go to David.
Hey everyone, my name is David Liebowitz, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Everipedia. Everipedia, we're a decentralized encyclopedia. We also build a suite of blockchain products, such that we just released our prediction market, Predict, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, David. All right, now let's go to Alex.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having me here. Pleasure to see everyone. My name is Alex Nascimento, and I teach blockchain business applications and security tokens at UCLA. We recently launched a book that you guys can get on Amazon, The STO Financial Revolution. And on my daytime, when I'm not teaching, I work at 7cc Blockchain Investments.
Excellent. Thank you, Alex. All right, so now I'm going to do a brief presentation about Latoken, and then we're going to get to the topics. All right. All right, guys, can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So for those of you who are just, can everybody see? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. And for those of you who are just joining, welcome to our Latoken online roadshow. I'm Mike Henley, and I'm responsible for finding great startups and enabling them to achieve their full potential by helping them with fundraising, asset tokenization, exchange listings, and post-listing performance. We're very proud to be recently featured as a top 20 exchange on CoinGecko. This was from Saturday. Although CoinGecko constantly changes their algorithm, we are very proud at how fast we're growing. All right, so we intend to ride this wave. Where are we now? An era of crisis or an era of opportunities? It's most definitely uncertain times, but who better to deal with uncertainty than startups? Running out of cash is still the #1 reason companies go bankrupt. Latoken actually solves this issue, and I'll show you how a little later. So why Latoken? It all started about 2 years ago when Latoken raised $18 million in an ICO to build a global digital exchange. Since then, we've grown to be in the top 10% of digital asset exchanges by liquidity in the world, and the largest launchpad for IEOs according to ICO Bench. How did we get here? We've done 150 plus IEOs since 2017 and listed 400 plus tokens. This is what brought us more than 500,000 registered users, plus the monthly website traffic of 3 million plus visits. Throughout the year, Latoken organizes and promotes blockchain economic forums across the world that gather entrepreneurs, investors, industry leaders, and renowned public speakers. Thanks to those events, we've built a network of 8 billion plus assets under management with over 100 venture capital firms and angel investors and family offices, allowing entrepreneurs and startups to raise $900 million through their participation and sponsorship of PEFs. As I mentioned previously, ICO Bench rates Latoken by far the largest launchpad for new tokens. In fact, We're 15% larger than our number 2 competitor and 68% larger than the third. We've provided these fundraising opportunities to over 54 projects from all around the globe. So we've collected substantial expertise in the fundraising process. With this experience, we guide and advise projects throughout the whole cycle to increase their chances of hitting their fundraising targets. MechaCoin and CoinShare. So this shows a few of our most recent fundraising success cases. Basically, the numbers speak for themselves. I'd just like to emphasize the point that there are 2 key components to the success of an IEO. One is the project itself, the team, the backers, the community, the product, and overall traction. And 2, a marketing campaign, supporting the token sale. If you have both, your chances of hitting your fundraising targets increase substantially. Latoken Airdrop is a product that's extremely effective for promoting a project's IEO and greatly increases the number of traders for the project, from 10,000 to 100,000 real Telegram group users with 20+ success cases. Recently launched Latoken VC TV widget broadcasts our roadshows to 15,000 viewers via our trading terminal, Latoken landing page, and crowdfunding section. This is very exciting because this broadcasts to thousands of additional potential investors to our platform. With our top-ranked Latoken app, you can list your token, invest in upcoming IEOs, and buy your favorite cryptocurrencies for the lowest fees with one click only. So we talked earlier about Latoken's blockchain economic forums. This slide provides a little more color. Our BEFs are really high-profile major events happening in multiple locations across the globe throughout the year. We have some really incredible speakers and investors, from Tim Draper from Draper Capital, Joey Krug from Pantera, and Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico. So what is the investor room all about? There are 3 simple steps. 1, create your landing page on Latoken. You become instantly visible to 500,000 plus registered users and potential investors, and 3 million plus new coming visitors on our Latoken website. 2, present your project to the Latoken team of investment experts in your own video streaming room. We reserve the slot for you so you can test your pitching to Latoken investment experts and get instant feedback on your presentation to make sure that you're 100% ready to pitch in front of VC funds. And 3, get shortlisted to present your project in front of selected investors. We plan your project's pitching date, and you get us selected to pitch in front of the Latoken community and the elite investor panel. Latoken is currently offering a great crowdfunding method in the global pandemic scenario. Online fundraising pitch sessions in front of investors with 80 billion plus assets under management. Here's the value that your project receives. Reaching a worldwide investor community of 500,000 registered users, no cross-border travel expenses and issues. You don't have to spend time on traveling and being selected for pitching in front of VCs. Flexible scheduling. Projects from any time zone can get a pitching slot. Marketing support. Latoken provides you with the marketing support necessary for successful crowdfunding. An instant equity sale. Due to our 500,000 user base and infrastructure, you can sell your equities instantaneously. Entrepreneurs and startups have already raised $900 million by their participation and sponsorship in these BEFs. All right, crowdfunding campaign. This is the gold standard for startups, guys. If you have a token, we make a primary offering campaign targeted to our 500,000 users. This includes a banner on the main page with 300 plus monthly visits, a customizable referral program, and a secondary market listing. Even if you don't have a token, we can create one for you. So there are 2 steps to raise funds at Latoken right now. 1, pitch for a Latoken team of investment experts. And 2, pitch in front of our selected VC funds. want to be part of your fundraising success. If you want to reserve a pitching slot for your project, send me an email or a message on Telegram, mentioning your project name and the services you're interested in, online pitching sessions, or crowdfunding campaign. Thank you, everybody. Now, let's get to it. Let's get to the speakers. All right, perfect. So everybody introduced themselves already. We're going to go in the same order. And again, if you would like to just say your name, introduce yourself one more time for those of, because maybe there's some viewers who are just joining us, please feel free. So the first question or topic is really, really interesting to me on a personal level. So this Wednesday, the 27th, Goldman Sachs is actually holding a conference call entitled U.S. Economic Outlook and Implications of Current Policies for Inflation, Gold, and Bitcoin, which is really, really interesting. So the CIO, Rahmani of Goldman Sachs Investment Strategy Group will be hosting. Yeah, so what does this mean for crypto, guys? So we'll start with Alex. Or Alec, excuse me, Alec.
Thank you, Mike. Hey guys, my name is Alec Tan. I'm the CEO and co-founder of InnoDT, a SaaS data platform delivering a unique edge with real-time information, blockchain-based information. So, you know, I like where Goldman Sachs and all the financial institutions are going towards, you know. So what this means for crypto industry is that there's definitely a huge turning point for a lot of asset managers, you know, finding ways to looking for more alpha, basically. If they're able to even carve out like a small percentage, 2-3% of their portfolio to have some exposure, this is really delivering, you know, better financial products for their clients. But it's a two-way street, right? So if they can build better financial products, you know, using Bitcoin or any other digital assets, then developers here on the panel, like ourselves, would try to find ways to meet that middle ground, to bridge that gap. So I think even if it's not just Goldman, but we also have like Paul Tudor or Renaissance Tech coming into the space. It's definitely huge.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. Thank you, Alec. All right, so Walter, what's your take?
Yeah, my name is Walter Tonetto, and I'm the CEO and founder of Nusantara Trust in Singapore, and we're launching this year hybrid digital coin. And so, yeah, let me say something apropos this idea of JP Morgan coming into us. I mean, it's just to contextualize things, and of course, I totally agree with the previous speaker that it's a good indication to see where the market is wending. On the other hand, JP Morgan has been fined, I think, a total of $36 billion in its history. It's been likened to the Gambino crime family. And of course, it's this brazen kind of centralized structure, this behemoth, that we're trying not to become totally disaffected from. But, we're trying to do something that's things a little bit differently. We're trying, at least maybe following the script up to a certain point, and then we bolt. To extend my metaphor of being somewhere out on the paddock. Because we're out on the paddock, then inevitably, of course, it means that we're kind of poised for slaughter. So, no, I see the power of the elites that are controlled, the money flows, the money system, and the Fed, and so on, the execrable Fed. And of course, now we get Bretton Woods, a rewrite of Bretton Woods. I see those as forces too large to fight. But I think, the change is going to happen in these kind of very, very, very small, seemingly insignificant moves. And I think that's why it's very good. And that's why I take the sapience of my previous speaker of not wholly condemning, not being wholly condemnatory, let's say, of JP Morgan. You're listening well and, listening with both ears or with a pair of ears, and then perhaps the pair of feet maybe slightly readjusting or slightly moving in a slightly different direction. So yeah, we take a feel of the market because all the global economies are going to go digital, and that's inevitable. And I think so, we get some sense of what their roadmap might be, and that's of course very important.
Very nice commentary. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's only a matter of time before countries around the world adopt their own forms of digital fiat, I don't think that they will supersede the current monetary system in terms of cash, payments on cards or anything like that. But I do think they could probably serve as a concurrent method of regulating monetary policy. And I think the U.S. and other countries will have to compete on the digital landscape, especially because China is creating a digital yuan. So really interesting times right now, guys, and we're all here living it right now. All right, let's go to David.
Hey everyone, my name's David Liebowitz. I am the Vice President of Business Development at Everipedia Predict. We're basically building a knowledge economy powering a family of dApps. Everipedia is our decentralized encyclopedia. Predict is our decentralized prediction market. And what I'm really excited about this is a trend that's been emerging for a while. People that were publicly doubting cryptocurrency are now coming into the fold. You had the CIO of Goldman Sachs saying before, hey, in 2018, he was like, oh, I don't see any value in cryptocurrencies. Now they're having a conference call about it. You have JP Morgan a few years, Jamie Dimon saying like, doubting Bitcoin and not seeing any value in it. Now they have Coinbase and Gemini as custodial clients. So it's just a matter of time, like what banks are next into having cryptocurrencies in their fold. And this makes me really excited of what's happening in Wyoming and how forward thinking they are in their laws and how they came up with 13 regulatory points recognizing digital tokens and whatnot. So I see this is just a trend emerging and that we'll continue to see.
Awesome, David. Yeah, you definitely echo my sentiment on a personal level. I think, just as you said, Jamie Dimon coming out as such a staunch opponent to Bitcoin in particular and other digital currencies, and now kind of doing a complete 180, yet not being very overt about it publicly is pretty interesting. I think we're definitely.
Sorry if I may interrupt. It's not a whole kind of turnabout. In 2013, they already filed patent applications for something that kind of resembles payment system very, very close to BTC, to Bitcoin, of course. So it's been in the pipes all along. And just like with a politician, be very careful. Don't trust what they say. Look at what they do.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, very interesting stuff, guys. All right, so let's go to Alex.
Yeah, no, I think that everyone here has the same vision, right? It's a continual sign of institutional adoption. And that was always our focal point for research at UCLA. This is only going to get massive adoption if it gets institutional adoption. So you see major signs, not only this one where Goldman is showing interest in the asset class, but you see major signs of adoption recently. Last year, we saw futures contracts overpassing Bitcoin daily trades. So there were more people trading futures than people trading daily of Bitcoin. This previous downfall of the price of Bitcoin during the COVID time, if you look at chain analysis and you look at the movement of coin, the reason why it went to 3,800 was because institutional investors were all dumping their coin on the market. As an institutional investor, during those early days of COVID pandemic, you were selling everything, not only your Bitcoin, but your S&P 500, your Boeing stock, everything. So if you look at the analysis, the major movement during those days of early March came from wallets that had more than 10 BTCs. Retail investors don't have more than 10 BTCs in their wallet. So you see this major adoption of institutional, you look at Fidelity Digital products, that they have been working on this since 2014. And the STO market, which has been promising for the longest time, only got an approval from the SEC for a public offering of a token or a regulated ICO on July 10th of 2019. So this is very early on, and it's clearly a point where we see more institutional players buying into the asset class, and Bitcoin and other crypto are somewhat uncorrelated to markets, and they have a place in a institutional portfolio. So we have been expecting these kinds of moves for a while now.
Mm-hmm. Excellent commentary, Alex, as always. Thank you. Actually, really quickly, before I get into the next conversation, next topic, Alec, what is your take? Alex just mentioned about Chainalysis. With what you guys do, what's your take on that?
Instead of providing opinion, so the way that we look at inflows and outflows, all these type of addresses activities, it's already been aggregated into our server. And so a lot of the customers that we work with, they want to be able to capture this event and update the algorithm so that they can drive their own purpose. And so when it comes to looking at the difference between price-based data and blockchain-based data, price-based tends to look at price, volatility, moving day average, technical charts. Whereas for us, when we start to look into like different types of address, let's say those 10 BTC wallet addresses, if they are amongst like 100 of those, let's say 10 BTC addresses, then that starts becoming like a digital behavior, which starts becoming interesting if they have very similar patterns of execution for those confirmed transactions. Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to Chainalysis, this starts to get something that is very interesting for us to start diving into. Is this a repeatable behavior? Is this a signal? And then how does that correlate to the market? And so that's
interesting.
The different perspective.
Very interesting. Thank you. All right. So now this next topic is a hot topic, guys. So I hope you're ready. I hope the viewers are ready. It is regarding the mystery of the person or persons or team of that which is Satoshi Nakamoto. So with everything that has recently been going on, I'm sure most everyone who follows crypto knows, how much does it actually matter who Satoshi is, in your opinion? And what's your current take on everything that's happening? We'll start with Alec.
Just making sure, since I just spoke, I'll keep it short too. So, this is something that I just woke up to, like this morning news. I'm starting to see like this momentum with this, like in the courts, like they're still pointing fingers and they're even trying to block a few of the folks from speaking on subject matter. And what's starting to get really interesting is not only are they validating Satoshi's like software engineering knowledge, but they're also validating his health condition, whether he's autistic or not. And so, there's something that's very interesting, that it's like how it's evolved to this point. And from like a data perspective, it's just like, now you have all this, what are you gonna do? And what's the correlation, not to price, but what's the correlation to your behaviors thereafter? So that's something that's interesting for us.
And a bonus question, does Satoshi, if it is an individual or team, do they deserve privacy? Do they deserve privacy, or since they've created it, is it fair game for them to not have privacy?
It's still me, right?
Yeah. Just real quick.
I don't think it makes sense for this huge fanfare. If you ever identify who really Satoshi is, there's, it's like, what's the purpose? What's that gonna achieve? Then you could be glorify.
Yeah.
It's a loaded question. I'll leave it at that. Thanks, Alec. All right, Walter, let's go to you, man.
Let me try to give a fairly short response to this as well. Just in literature, you have this idea of the authorial fallacy, of the fallacy of basically going too deeply into the history of an author, into the personal details. And I think the same pertains to Satoshi, whether or not he is a he or a she, or he's here or there, or he's no longer with us. I think it doesn't really matter. I think the technology is there. The white papers are to be looked at and to be pondered over. And I think one shouldn't get too lost in that labyrinth. I think that the structure is the important thing. Again, at the end, it's if you will, it's a foundational principle for lots of other cryptocurrencies. So in terms of that Genesis principle, there is a certain amount of respect that we owe, I think, to that.
Sure.
Whoever, or even if the CIA invented it, I mean, who knows? Yeah, I think there's power and there's potential purpose to that.
Sure. Thank you, Walter. All right, David.
Yeah, I have to agree with Walter. I think there's a certain kind of magic and kind of this origin story of Satoshi, of him being anonymous and him leaving early on. I think what matters more now is more what happens to those early mined coins. As you saw, I think it was last week, somebody
Mhm.
moved 50 BTC, and Whale Alerts tweeted a possible Satoshi coin, and
Mhm.
that freaked out the market, even though it wasn't his
Oh
coin.
yeah. Even though it wasn't substantiated,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, and then today, you had an early miner sign a message on coins that Craig Wright claimed to have in his court case. But in the signed message, he was like, "No, these aren't Craig Wright coins. We are all Satoshi Nakamoto." But nothing
That's pretty
happened
cool.
there. So nothing happened there in terms of the market. So I think what matters more now is like how early mined coins are, like their movement and stuff, because that seems to be emerging as a really big market trigger.
Hmm. Yeah. Always. Thank you. Always like listening to your perspective, David.
Thank
All
you.
right. Let's go to Alex.
Yeah, like, what does it matter, right? If you watch that movie, Betting on Bitcoin,
Mhm.
it seems quite clear that it wasn't one person's job, right?
Mhm.
And the adoption of Bitcoin uh, for the whole blockchain and cryptocurrency market was essential for it to bring it to mainstream. And that's what we're seeing it now. One of the reasons why Bitcoin was deemed a commodity by the SEC was that it was so decentralized that you couldn't call the 1-800 complaint number.
Mhm.
So if you think about that and the adoption of Bitcoin around the world as a form of store of value, where people could use that and utilize that consensus of agreement of what is value,
Mhm.
and have a network of people. Yeah, it's a detail if people eventually unlock those early coins. But I think it's better overall for the market that those early coins maintain themselves in anonymity and don't come to the market, right? Because then you
Right.
deflate the value, the
Sure.
current Bitcoin currency, and you allow newer people to come into the market without having one player that could significantly swing the market left or right. But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I don't think it, I hope it doesn't come up. I hope that they don't find those keys. I hope that it remains, quote unquote, the mystery behind
Mhm.
Bitcoin, so that the market can continue to flourish.
Yeah, I was gonna add, like, he hasn't moved those coins in over, or she or they haven't moved those coins in over 10 years. It's like they're de facto staked, and once they get unstaked or unlocked or they move, then there's just automatically more in circulation.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Great point, Alex, and also David. Yeah. So gonna change things up a little bit. Let's skip the last question. If we have time for it, we'll get back to it. But I want to get into the meat of what you guys do, to tell the viewers what you guys do and what your project or company or book is all about. And then I'll do some questions and answers with you if we have time. All right, so let's go back to Alec.
So yeah, NODT is a blockchain analytics format visualizer. So if there's anything blockchain, anything there, excuse me, there's still like a lot full of risk and lacks transparency. So with the whole wealth creation for every new products that come into the space, this helps drive the needle even for the blockchain just to continue growing. But then like crypto companies are still scrambling to build this enterprise grade software with beautiful dashboards, but with more dashboards, there tends to be a lot of price-based data, which I referred to earlier. So a lot of these like active participants, they start trusting these market probabilities and statistics. But what really lies behind these crypto prices is them trying to find the true risk that's behind the flow of funds. And this is where like the blockchain-based data comes in. And so, NODT, we're here to solve this, time risk to be a little bit more faster and more reliable. So like the Bloomberg terminal, our servers are feeding real-time data to our customers and across different blockchains, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and so forth. So with like, our three simple processes of aggregating blockchain data into our servers, creating data pipelines, we're spinning up a lot of these APIs for data delivery so that our customers are able to analyze multiple addresses, look at different clusters, see the behavioral, transactional identities, and track those movements over its lifetime, and do their own studies. So call it like on-chain signals as one of the products.
Very cool. So a couple questions, like one, just for the audience, how would you like differentiate yourself between chain analysis?
So one perspective you could see it as like even Digital Currency Group mentioned, there may be a lot of competitors, but we do serve the market in different ways and even in shared output. So even if there's like more demand, there still needs to be a lot of like similar players in the field. And even when you're going up with like, let's say the US government looking for vendors, they may not want to democratize, not centralize on like just a few vendors, but they want to be able to spread that service around too. So it's also, gives the community back as well.
Sure. And so what is your target client? Is it more geared towards smaller startups, more medium-sized companies, large enterprises? What's your target client?
So as far as target client goes, we're looking into those, we're like a traditional SaaS business model. So folks that needs data, from researchers to crypto funds to exchanges to even blockchain projects as well. So when you're looking in terms of any kind of not just like price movement of what's going on with the wallet behaviors, but you also look in terms of digital asset management.
Yeah, very cool. Let's see. I think I had one other question. Maybe I'll come back to it. Well, sounds very cool, Alec. Oh, so what are your goals for, the next year or two in terms of your company? How have you guys grown and what are you looking forward to?
Oh, our goal is to bring blockchain adoption forward. If we can actually make this transparent by allowing you and even everyday folks to understand what's really going on besides what the media is publishing, then that's like a huge like conquer there. So we're really looking forward to figuring out ways to provide more access and of information and spreading that information around. Absolutely.
And pricing, is that is that different for each client, or is that kind of like streamlined? How do you guys look at pricing?
Oh, as far as pricing goes, we're still very early on. So if case by case, if depending on what the demand is, how fast you want that information, then we could definitely talk to you and figure out like what's the demand there for you.
Perfect. And so it's NODT.com.
Yeah, NODT.com, short for Innovative Decentralized Technologies.
Oh, awesome. I actually did not know that. Excellent. All right. So if we have more time, we'll ask you some more questions, but thank you so much, Alec. All right. That's NODT. Absolutely. All right. So let's go to Walter.
Okay. Let me try to be as succinct as possible. And the whole idea kind of sprang, if you will, out of the malaise of 2008. I mean, when we had the near collapse of financial markets, it's been very clear to me now for a number of years that this meltdown of the markets is going to be now totally inevitable. And of course, now we have this, if you will, this COVID layer or this cover, which is accelerating, if anything. We will certainly have the Fed printing, enormous amounts of money, and Congress, of course, dispensing that with a very light hand to the 1,000 richest individuals in the US. So there's a kind of a skullduggery happening right under our noses, if you will, under our blocked noses, I should say. So this instinct of kind of democratizing, and Alec spoke about that too in terms of very specific kind of technical modalities. This thing of really, facilitating a way to give the average person access to at least sustain their assets, to build their wealth in such a way that you're not being hoodwinked by government or by the processes. And so, fit upon the idea that I think the smartest way of doing that, in terms of also the ethos in Indonesia is, because the Muslims are the majority, is, find a product that is agreeable to the masses. And of course, there's always been this distrust of fiat currencies, of US dollars and euros and rupiah. And so now by giving actual real physical gold, which is vaulted, and silver, and marrying this now to, if you will, to Satoshi, having a stable coin nexus there, I think kind of affords enough of this in this part of in the stance between risk and strength. It affords, I think, that the right kind of traction that we need. And because, as I said, it's going to be inevitable, I think by the end of this year, we're going to see the massive decline of the euro, hyperinflation, all kinds of things, and the US dollar at some point is going to follow suit. And then, of course, we have the conflagration of world markets, and that's going to impact, of course, Indonesia as well. So the Indonesian rupiah is going to come under attack, hyperinflation pressures and such like. And I think everybody's going to look for the safe haven. And the safe haven is very, very few asset classes can offer that. And our stable coin, or let's say our construct out of stable coin and real gold and real silver, is going to be able to offer that. And I think that's going to be, I think we're going to be very, very strong in the market on account of that.
Sounds exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about digital gold? I guess it previously was Indocoin, and now it's being rebranded to digital gold. And I know Walter shared with me he's going to have a new website soon where everyone can go check out everything. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about digital gold.
Okay, it's part of it springs, and I don't want to go into those details. And everybody's had those experiences in life where your partners say cheating you in business. So that accounts largely for this rejigging, if you will, and for setting up a new operational vehicle for Indonesia. I've got 100% control of the holding company in Singapore, and it's kind of now, if you will, a more market-oriented in terms of what I see now as the inevitable collapse of financial markets. So the various use cases that I had earlier conceived are now going to be put, let's say, to the back burner, and a few other dishes that are to the fore, and I think that are going to be much, much more appetizing at the front, and we're working on them first. And that's the constitution of having this hybrid construct. And of course, we have now the digital capabilities of doing that in a very, very sublime ways. And I think it's something that's going to be humbling, is going to be hugely successful once it gets over those initial hurdles, of course, because
sure,
it's the kind of, if you will, although it's being rejigged, it's in a startup phase, obviously, in that sense. Although I've worked for 2 years on it. We signed an MOU with the world's largest Muslim organization, 96 million members strong. I've got very, very strong political connections. I don't want to go into those details. Some of them are confidential. But you have to arrange yourself also with the powers that be, of course. Because if you can't scale something, you can have a great idea. But if you can't scale the great idea, it's going to be something maybe lost in the history book. And I want it to be consequential for that. So.
Excellent. So one final quick question. So am I understanding correctly that digital gold would be associated with a country particular, or is it is it a country coin per se, or not so much? Those are kind of getting hot right now.
Well, I don't know if we can properly speak of country coins anymore, in the sense that everything is kind of intertwined, globally anyway. And I see that, as we said before, that every country's going to have their digital currency. I do disagree with you, with all due respect. I think cash is going to be totally out, and I resent that. I think cash is really, really important, but I think governments have a much, much stronger control of all of us when they dispense with cash altogether. So there's going to be an intertwining of, the Russians are going to do wonderful things in terms of bringing their stuff to market, their digital currencies. The Chinese are very strong. I hope America is not going to fall behind in that regard either. And of course, there's going to be countries, let's say in Southeast Asia, such as Indonesia, that are going to be also contending in this mix of things. In this, it's going to be potpourri of things. But our digital art is now evolved to the point where I think that's very, very easy to handle that. You have to manage that.
Very interesting points, Walter. Thank you so much. All right, so let's go to David. Now, I just wanted to preface to David, Everipedia has been around for quite a while, especially, and I really want you to share with us what you guys have been doing, because you have a fantastic history.
I like to say we've been around since BC, before crypto. We started in 2015. We kind of, as just an idea, like how can we build a better encyclopedia for the internet today? Wikipedia is great. They've been around since 2000. They do a lot of things well, but they really haven't evolved much. They've kind of had trouble keeping up with current events and things up and coming in culture. And so that's where we came in and where we really thrive. Like, yes, we have all of Wikipedia imported on our site, but we have so much more, and we do a lot more to, I like to think, empower users. So that's really where the IQ token comes in, and users can have a stake in the network. They can earn IQ tokens from editing. They can govern the network. You know, we have a very vibrant community. If you go in our Telegram group at Telegram/Everipedia, you always see people from all around the world sharing pages. And what I'm really excited about with the IQ token is how we're really building this, like I said earlier, knowledge economy that's powering a family of dApps. So the next app that we released is called Predict. We like to brand it as knowledge markets. So now users can use their IQ tokens to create markets. They can't do this anywhere else. So let's say, you know, you want to make a market. I'm going to use an example of a market I made the other day. I did it. Will Tesla be in the S&P 500 by the end of July? And so I just went in very simply, you know, submitted IQ tokens, which were then burned. And then now you have an active market where people are buying yes and no shares for it. So you have all kinds of markets.
Exciting.
Yeah, especially like with COVID, we have a good amount of COVID markets up. It's really exciting. You know, the Predict team and the Predict guys are doing a great job with that. And we really want to blend these products to both Everipedia and Predict together. And we're kind of doing this whole campaign to rebrand them together. And we really see them both as complementing each other. And we have a lot of exciting things in the pipeline. And we're really excited to see where the rest of the year goes, especially as crypto is, from, you know, the Goldman Sachs meeting, it's getting more and more interest again. And we're excited to be a part of that.
Yeah, that's awesome, David. Yeah, so a couple things. I completely agree with you. You know, on a few levels, Wikipedia it's great in certain ways, obviously. However, most people don't know it's pretty heavily censored.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
It's very heavily censored. It's a strange, like if you want to publish something, you kind of have to go through a very kind of strange, almost back channel way to have like an admin approve it. It's pretty. It's not easy, and
it's
I think
dictatorial.
Yeah, and Everipedia, for those of you who may not be familiar with it, it's obviously, you know, it's blockchain based, so the stuff cannot be it cannot be censored. And also, I checked out your website recently. You do make a great point. You guys are really keeping up with kind of trending news, you know, like influencers or YouTubers, kind of tapping into the social media aspect, creating a really nice hybrid between, you know, Wikipedia and some other things. So
exactly.
I think you're doing some really cool stuff.
I like to add, I'll give a little bit of a history lesson real quick. So early on in Wikipedia's history, there is a battle between inclusionists and deletionists. Inclusionists believed everything should be included, even if it's a sub. Deletionists were like, no, we need to be strict. Around 2010, the deletionists won out, and there you saw a plateau on Wikipedia pages made. You saw a plateau on editors joining the site. It had a big effect. Like, I guess it was good for like their interest in centralizing and whatnot, but they missed out on a lot of content. And 5 years later, that's where Everipedia was born and was created. And now we've been on this journey since 2015, and here we are.
That's super cool. And, you know, just because I'm a crypto fundamentalist, I think what you guys are doing is really important, because we have to have the truth, guys. You know, the truth needs to be out there, it needs to be available. I'm very anti-censorship. So I think, you know, what you guys are doing is very cool. So tell me a little bit more about Predict, and also to the viewers, how is it different than a project like Augur, for example?
Yeah, I think we really focus on usability, make it easy for users, you know, to use the platform. So if you go on predict.everipedia.org, you'll see it's very easy to digest markets. Somebody actually just tweeted today, they look like a baseball card, a virtual baseball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very simple to use. You know, well, the one thing is you have to have an EOS account, but we're looking at options to, you know, get more people both in crypto and outside crypto to use it. Like I said, the biggest factor that makes it different from other prediction markets is users can make markets and they can actually earn fees from those markets.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
the creator of the market can earn fee. Oh, yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah. And there's also
that provides the incentive.
Yeah, there's also, you know, referral free. So if people share, you know, their markets online on social media and Twitter, they can also have a fee. So, you know, it really gives an incentive to like have these markets spread throughout the space. Like I said, we have a lot of exciting markets. We're growing, and we have a lot of initiatives in play. So,
very exciting stuff, David. Thank you. All
Thank
right,
you.
Alex. Thank you. All right, Alex, let's go to you, my man.
Yeah, so like I said, I teach blockchain and business applications and security tokens at UCLA. I know David and Alec, those are both great projects that came out of the UCLA community. So very proud for seeing that flourish and taking a leadership in the market. On our journey for trying to understand this market and trying to educate students, we came across the whole idea of blockchains, ICOs, and other forms of token offerings being deemed by the SEC an unregulated securities offering. So we focused on researching how entrepreneurs, business leaders, small and medium enterprises, as well as big companies could use blockchain for raising capital from a regulated point of view. And a lot of people look at this, and when we're talking about institutional investors, a lot of people around the world, when we go on keynotes, ask me, why are we all looking at the SEC? And why are we all waiting for the SEC to take a position? And it's pretty simple, right? The U.S. market is responsible for about 4 out of 10 global trades. So it's close to 40% on equities and a little bit over 40% on bonds. So if you're an institutional player, if you're a bank, a hedge fund, a VC, well, VC is a little bit more flexible, but any other form, pension funds and so forth, you're looking into what 40% of the market is going to do on a global environment. So that was our focus. We started researching back in 2017 how to do this from a regulated point of view. Like I mentioned, we ended up creating this book, The STO Financial Revolution.
Which is fantastic, by the way.
Oh, thank you, appreciate it. You can find it on Amazon. It's 99 cents, and all the money goes to the blockchain at UCLA, which is our student organization. So the STO Financial Revolution is up there. It's a non-technical book, and you don't need to have technical expertise that David and Alec have to understand blockchain and crypto. It's geared to demystifying blockchain and token offerings to the business and entrepreneurial community.
Excellent. Yeah, if any of you have not read the STO Financial Revolution, go and get it right now, because it's really good. It's very good. And like Alec said, you don't have to have a technical background. It's a very easy read, but it's a very informative read. So yeah, I mean, Alex, you did a service for us all, man, writing that. And I think, I'm sure if it's not already recommended reading in universities, it will be. So great job with that.
No, appreciate it. We've been donating the book at a variety of universities and places all around the world. We did a couple of donations here through Latoken. Our idea is to spread the knowledge. We actually got David's CEO, Wikipedia's CEO, to contribute to the book. So, the idea here is to educate people that not necessarily have a computer science background into the ability of utilizing blockchain to not only raise funds, but to innovate and disrupt their industry.
And also, Alex is a very humble guy, but he has a fantastic academic pedigree, and he's done some really amazing stuff. You guys should definitely follow him as well, and everybody else on this panel today. So yeah, I mean, I think unless anybody has any final words they would like to say, we can wrap up a bit early. There is a few other things I would like to say about Latoken, but does anybody want to jump in and say one last thing?
It's an honor to be here with such great panelists. I was going to say that everybody's very impressive, and I'm excited to check all your products and books out.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Great.
All right. Well, I want to thank all the viewers. It looks like we're going to be wrapping up a bit early today. It is Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to everyone. And we are thinking about all of our lost loved ones or people that have perished due to COVID or other things that are in our thoughts and prayers. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Remember to go to latoken.com if you're a project that is interested in reaching a global audience. Latoken is a fantastic option. We have so many different options, like I said, for startups in the presentation. Feel free to go back to the beginning and rewatch the presentation. Also, I wanted to emphasize the gold standard is our crowdfunding campaign, which includes every service that we went over, essentially. And yeah, go to latoken.com, trade, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And thanks everyone for watching. Thank you guys so much.
All right, appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Mike.
Thank you, guys. All right, cheers. Oh, wait, 1 second. 1 second before we go. I wanted to say I pride myself on having engaging live streams. I want to ask pertinent, relevant questions. I want to fire up our community. And so I really hope you enjoyed it and want to provide the best content for you guys. So thank you guys so much. I'm Mike Henley at Latoken. Have a wonderful day. All right, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.